ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Let us offer salutations to Sri Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish dharma and punish the wicked. Let us pray to him to lead us from unreal to real, to lead us from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita, the yoga of imperishable Brahman. Lord Krishna has said in the previous verse number 6, he has said that at the hour of death, whatever the man or woman thinks foremost, that will determine that person's future birth. If that person is focused on the Divine Lord Himself, Krishna says he will come to Him alone, not to have any doubt about it. So he is telling Arjuna the significance of remembering him at the hour of death. So he is telling it is not easy that at the time of hour of death you suddenly remember God and you utter the name and pass the life. Unless you practice repeating God's name constantly throughout your life, then it's quite possible you may be able to repeat His name at the hour of death. So Krishna is telling in this verse number 7, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita manobuddhir mame vaishyasya samshaha. Arjuna, therefore at all times constantly remember me and fight. With mind and intellect fixed or absorbed in me, you shall doubtless come to me alone. How it is very important to take the divine name and repeat as many times as possible every day, because that is a way to replace all the negative samskaras in the mind. When you create new impressions, those impressions overtake the bad ones and you are saved from many difficult situations. Lord Krishna is telling us that we should engage ourselves in our duties, whatever duties we are performing. But while doing the duties, you must keep your mind on me. So, thinking of Him and doing the work. That's what he says, Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanaswara Yudhyacha. By doing that way, you don't incur any bad reactions of the activities. So, you'll be on the right track. That's what he meant. But people nowadays have no respect for God's name at all. Even they distort the God's name. Distorting is most horrible. Keeping the God's name and afterwards distorting it. Not uttering properly, carelessly doing that. So, what has happened is people have lost the force of moral values in life. So we see throughout America how people are becoming more and more violent, more and more prone to commit crimes. Every day, most ghastly news come in the news. Father killing the son, killing his own wife, and then killing himself. All sorts of crimes. In fact, in Kalki Puran, it is described how in this modern age people become worse than demons. And they commit horrible crimes. But what's to be done? So, at least those who are blessed enough to come to spiritual path, they should be very watchful and careful about what they are doing, not worrying about what others do. So, at the hour of death, a man goes to what he thinks upon, such is the law. Therefore, Arjuna, Krishna says, have me in your heart always. Secondly, thinking upon me only, fight. So have me in your heart always. For this life is uncertain. You never know when death may come. And if you leave this body in an hour of absorption, not in the Lord, but in things of the earth, then indeed will your earth life have been in vain. But if in the hour of death your heart and mind are on me fixed, then surely will you come to me. And thinking upon me only, fight. There is another message Krishna says in this verse. In this verse he says this, Mahamanusmara Yuddhaja. So to Arjuna is the teaching given, fight. Why? Because Arjuna was a Kshatriya. During those days, they would strictly follow their duties according to the assignment. So, as a Kshatriya, his dharma, his swadharma, is to fight. Fight what? Fight the evil. The teaching then really is, and thinking upon me only, do your dharma, swadharma. For by the doing of your swadharma, your antakaran of the inner consciousness will be purified. So, think of the Lord and do your duty. Then it's the most wonderful activity. These two may well be linked together. Does not the rope dancer think of his feet and also the pole as he has to reach? Does not the motor driver fix his thought on the steering wheel and yet carry on conversation with his neighbor in the adjoining seat? And even survey the road to guard the car against danger and collision? If a student were to pass in his exam, he should have had studied well all the days before the days of exam. If a student thinks that it is enough for study nearing the exam, he may not pass at all in the examination. Even those who had studied well sometimes may not pass. Then what to speak of those who did not study properly? Even so, man should be well prepared in life. So Sri Krishna commands Arjuna to, while fight, remembering him all the time. Sri Krishna commands Arjuna to fight while remembering him all the time. The great Mahabharata war went on for 18 days. Sri Krishna did not say to Arjuna to remember him only during the war time, but to constantly remember him besides fighting in the battle. To this command, Sri Krishna is instructing us to remember him constantly and fight in the daily battle in our life. Everybody's life is a battle only. All our activities are in a way battle. We only have to face the fight all through life. While performing our daily activities, we should be constantly remembering the Divine Lord. There is special significance in the use of words smara and anusmara. Smara means remembering once, sometime in a day. Anusmara means constantly remembering at all times and in all situations. Activities are to be performed through body and senses, and the heart should be constantly thinking of the divine. The gopis, through their unadulterated intense love, Kamsa, through constant fear about Krishna, Shishupala, through hatred, Pandavas, through their love, Narada and others, through their devotion, remember the Divine Lord all the time and become blessed. So, the teaching is constant remembrance is essential. Without purification of the heart, it is not possible to accomplish this constant remembrance. In order to get the heart purified, following one's own dharma and performance of duties are indicated. Commanding Arjuna to fight is to perform his duty. Just as a greedy person always is thinking about money, one should always think of the divine. Another example is given. A housewife has gone to fetch drinking water from a distant well at the outskirts of her village home. In the house, only the baby is sleeping. The mother has made it sleep before going to the well. She has carried three pitchers along with a rope to draw water from the well. After drawing water from the well, she has carried 2 pitchers on her head and the third one in her arms and the rope in her hand. With all these things, she is coming back home. While walking fast to reach the home, she is constantly thinking about the baby, whether it was wake up or crying. She is constantly thinking about her baby while walking back home from the well with pitchers of water on her head and in her arm. Likewise, if we practice, we can fight like Arjuna and at the same time think of God. But we behave in a different way. While working, we forget God, and while meditating, we cannot perform work. There is another instance. In a temple, there is a regular priest who died suddenly. A new pujari was appointed temporarily. But he was quite new. So, while doing arati, one should wave the lighted lamp along with the ringing of the bell. That's the convention. But the new pujari, who had not trained properly, was struggling to do both at the same time. While waving the lamp, he could not ring the bell, and while ringing the bell, he could not wave the lamp. After many days of practicing, finally, he could wave the lighted lamp with one hand and ring the bell with the other hand. Our position is also the same. While engaging in works, we forget to remember God, and if we start remembering God, we forget doing work properly. By constant practice, it would be possible to do both simultaneously. Then life would be glorious like music well performed in conformity with the steady movement of cymbals. So the Divine Lord is commanding us how to offer our mind and intellect to Him. We are offering fruits, flowers and coconuts to God. That's not a big thing. These fruits and flowers are plucked from the trees and plants and offering them to Lord and seeking merit. Really speaking, this merit should go to the trees and plants for providing their fruits and flowers. In the middle, why should we have to get merit? If we want merit, we should offer our own things. That is why the Lord is telling us to offer our own mind and intellect to Him. Mind discusses and intellect decides about God. By this process, one is totally offering his mind and intellect to the Lord. Such a person gets steady devotion to God in this world and gets the Lord after death. The Lord is telling us not to doubt about this. So, Sri Krishna is not only giving instructions, but also telling us how to practice them in daily life. And so, it's very important that we should do spiritual practices regularly. Once a person came to meet me and in a gentle way asked him, see, you have got the mantra, are you doing japa properly? Twice a day, morning and evening. Then he was very shyful to answer. Finally he said, oh Swami, 2 times I am not doing, only 1 time I am doing. Why? At the time of initiation I told you clearly to do twice, morning and evening. Whatever time it is. He could not answer. So, that means his whole mind is not given there. That's the proper way of looking at things. You must develop the liking. You must be zealous to do spiritual sadhana. Then only it's possible to control the mind, purify the mind, and you can stabilize yourself and face all problems in life, challenges in life. So verse number 8 says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena cetasa nányagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthan chintayan. Engaged in the yoga of constant practice and not allowing the mind to wander away to anything else, he who meditates on the Supreme, resplendent Purusha, reaches him, O Partha. So, Shri Krishna is using the word Abhyasa Yoga. There are so many yogas. Constant practice is also one of the yogas. And you are sure to master yourself by Abhyasa. So to achieve the remembrance of God at the time of death, 2 practices need to be followed. Mind should be engaged in Abhyasa Yoga. repeatedly. You must do it. Not giving any excuses. And secondly, no other thoughts to be allowed. You're thinking of God, at the same time you're thinking of so many things going on in your neighborhood. No. You must not allow the mind to distract. There is no practice equal to Abhyasa. Through the power of Abhyasa, even difficult works can be accomplished. There is a story in Mahabharata. Mahabharata is full of stories. One night, Arjuna was doing supper in the night. Suddenly, the lamp went off. There's total darkness all around. At that point of time, one thought came to him. Even amidst darkness, my hand is rightly going to the mouth. Is it not the power of Abhyasa? Every day I am taking. It is the power of Abhyasa. When it has become possible to eat even in darkness, why not possible to shoot arrows even in light? So then by constant practice, he could achieve to shoot arrows even at night times. So constantly thinking of God is Abhyasa. In whatever way we constantly think of God is called Abhyasa, while waking up, sitting, standing, eating or wandering, mind should be continuously thinking of God. In a drama, a man playing the part of a woman, however well he has acted as a woman, he doesn't forget his true manly nature. Even so, on this stage of the world drama, in whatever way we act upon various disguises, we should not forget our true divine nature. We are intrinsically divine. For some reason, because of the cloud of ignorance, we are not able to recognize or realize our true divine nature. So we are suffering in one way or other. In the beginning, though it appears difficult, through constant repeated practice it becomes easy. The mind is compared to an animal, naughty animal. Once the mind runs after the senses, it doesn't simply come back to its abode. It projects so many things in its way. We must keep on creating good impressions till the old ones are eradicated. The trunk of an elephant is very restless. It grabs anything on its way. Therefore the Mahout fixes a heavy iron chain to the trunk. That controls the elephant. Mind is also like that. So, lazy man's mind is devil's workshop. Indiscriminative mind is devil. Discrimination mind is a goddess. There is an easy way to go free from samsara. Two things you have to keep remembering and two things you must keep on forgetting. Two things to be constantly remembered are, one is death and the second is divine God. These two things must be constantly remembered. Two things to be constantly forgotten. What are they? One is that he should forget about what good and help he has rendered to others. And the second, he should forget whatever one has done bad things to him. So these are the two things he should forget. By remembering death, one gets dispassion, vairagya. Remembering God, one gets liberation. By forgetting what good and help he has rendered to others, his ego is killed. By forgetting the evil done by others, you will get rid of revengeful hatred. By constantly engaging mind in spiritual activities is practicing Abhyasa Yoga, which leads the aspirant to the divine abode of bliss. Now, how that constant remembrance of God has such tremendous power of purifying even the most sinful person. And we have got the famous life story of Valmiki, a great saint, an illumined saint. But before he became illumined great saint, he was a daylight robber. Somehow he was fortunate to meet Narad one day, who gave him an awakening by teaching him, and he initiates him into the divine name of Rama, and he tells him, go, forget about all your life activities you were doing up to this time. Done is done, don't worry about that. Now from this moment onwards, keep repeating this Rama's name constantly, and you will be transformed. And Narad is telling so assuredly, and Valmiki was so much inspired. Immediately he went and started sitting under a tree, repeating God's name, Rama. He could not even repeat Rama properly. Then Maharshi said, don't worry, if you repeat in a fast, Rama, 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 Mara, Mara becomes Rama. He was repeating Mara instead of Rama. If you repeat Mara 10 times speedily, Mara, Rama, 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 it becomes Rama only. So, anyway, he got a lesson, and afterwards how he became a very great saint who wrote Ramayana. He was a hunter actually in his previous life, before he became a saint. In fact, in Bangalore there was one tribal group, Valmiki. They call they are descendants of Valmiki. So, constant repeating of God's name is fantastic spiritual sadhana. You don't have to stand on one leg and do all austerities. Just keep repeating the mantra wholeheartedly, lovingly. Everything will be done by the power of the mantra. It is a fact. It is established fact. All the Mahatmas have said that. So, you must have Shraddha and strong aspiration to get out of this samsara and to have the experience of peace and bliss, which one can get only through the realization. Kavim Purana Manusasitaram Anoraniyam Samansmaretya Sarvasya Dhataram Achintirupam Adityavarnam Tamasat Parastat. Verse number 9 and verse number 10. Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bhruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak Satam Param Purushamupayati Divyam. Its meaning is, he meditates on him as the omniscient, the ancient, the all-ruler, the minuter than the minute, the supporter of all, a form beyond the understanding of mortals, yet effulgent as the sun and beyond all darkness. At the time of death, with steadfast mind and devotion, by the power of yoga, holding his life breath in the center, the space between the two eyebrows, he attains the supreme divine person. The yogi's way of attaining Saguna Avyakta Divya Rupa is described. The yogi controls the mind. His mind wanders not with never wavering will. The yogi knows no other God. He meditates constantly on the Paramam Purusham Divyam, the Purusha, Supreme Divine, the holiest, perfect one. On him the yogi meditates and keep on meditating until he passes into his Rupa. He becomes God absorbed. The yogi meditates on the Swarupa of the Supreme Purush. And the yogi's face in the hour of death becomes a mirror of God. Concerning this Swarupa, the following may be noted. He is Kavi, all-wise, Sarvajna, the all-knowing one, the omniscient, the Lord of sage and singer. He is Puranam, the ancient of days, the eternal, primeval, the Adi, beginning of all, ground of all. He is the Swami, the all-ruler, Sarvashaktiman, the ordainer of all things. He is subtle than the subtle, smallest of the small, more subtle than an atom. He is the supporter, sustainer of all, the stay of all the world, the upholder of all. He is a form beyond comprehension, Achintarupam, a form which passes mortal knowing, beyond the comprehension of Manas and Buddhi. Yet is he refulgent as the sun, bright as the sun of suns, ever shining, glowing brighter than the sun's burning gold. Beyond the darkness is he, past all gloom, dispersing all darkness, the darkness of avidya or ignorance. The yogi, with mind set fast and fixed in devotion, in truth and faith, draws his life breath between calm brows. Such a yogi dies in happy peace, and in peace he passes to the Purusha divine. Such a yogi comes not into the wheel of birth and death except at his will. So, that is the final result of constantly remembering God. Whatever form he may meditate upon, as Lord Krishna himself has said, all are his own forms. As you worship God with form, as you worship God and goddesses, everything is God's only. The whole thing belongs to God. That's a fact. So, by constantly remembering, practicing every day, you are controlling the mind in a natural way, and you cultivate love of God. And the time will come when you seek nothing except God. So at the time of death also, you are not seeking anything because your whole mind is set on the divine, and finally you get liberation. But if some souls, they want to come back and help the humanity, they can come. As Swami Vivekananda himself has said, I am prepared to take any number of births to come to this earth to save the humanity from suffering. All the Mahatmas are ready to render their help out of infinite compassion. Because when they realize the divine, they become ocean of compassion. So, compassion has no limits. That's why it's called ocean. Daya Sagara. Ahaitika Kripa Sindhu. Without any reason, without any condition, they show compassion to the people everywhere. That's how God's glory is exemplified through the lives of the saints and sages. So let us try to practice what Lord Krishna has said. That will help us a great to overcome challenges in our samsara. So continue next. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Nandanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the embodiment of bliss, who came to establish Dharma and punish the wicked. Peace, peace, peace be to all.